In 610 CE, a prophet in Mecca began receiving a message from God. This would be the start of Islam and the beginning of a new path for all of humanity. But that's not what this video is about. This is the first episode of our series, where we will explore how Islam spread to different regions across the world. And today we will look at how Islam came to Palestine. So make sure to like this video and subscribe so you never miss an upload. After the Prophet Muhammad's death in 632 CE, Islam began to rapidly expand. The battle that would take place in 636 CE at Yarmouk would see around 80,000 Muslim soldiers defeat around 120,000 Byzantine soldiers. And Christians, as long as they paid the jizya, a special tax that non-Muslims had to pay when they lived under Islamic rule. During the 7th century, the Umayyad Caliphate would rule over Palestine. And it was during this time that the Arabic language and Islamic culture began to spread throughout the region. After making the Pact of Protection, Umar allowed the Jews back into Jerusalem. They had been expelled from the city by the Byzantines earlier, but now they were able to return and rebuild their lives there. The Muslims also built two very important structures in Jerusalem. The first was the Dome of the Rock, which was built in 691 CE on the Temple Mount. This was an important pilgrimage site for Muslims, because it was believed to be the place where the Prophet Muhammad began his night journey, or Isra and Mi'raj. Muslims believe that after his prophecy, Muhammad was taken from Mecca to Al-Aqsa, also known as Jerusalem, and then ascended into heaven. The second mosque that was built was the Al-Aqsa Mosque. It is the third holiest mosque in Islam, after the Haram Sharif in Mecca and the Prophet's Mosque in Medina. This defeat would allow the Muslims to enter Jerusalem without shedding any blood. This was because Caliph Umar entered the city in 638 CE after the Muslims had already taken over the city. The next three caliphs, known as the reshaped caliphs, were tasked with spreading the message of Islam, and they did so by force when necessary. During their conquests, they would often face the Byzantine and Sassanid Persian empires. And the Muslims would be led by some of the most iconic names in Islamic history, such as Abu Bakr, Omar, and Usman. One of the first major battles between the Muslims and the Byzantines was the Muslim conquest of Palestine, which took place between 636 and 638 CE. When Umar entered Jerusalem, he found it to be largely deserted. Many of the inhabitants had fled the city during the Muslim siege, but there were still a few Christians and Jews who remained. Umar, being the second caliph of Islam, was a very important figure, and when he entered Jerusalem, he made a very significant announcement. He declared that all Christians and Jews living within the Muslim Empire would be given religious freedom and that their lives, property, and places of worship would be protected. This became known as the Pact of Protection or the Constitution of Medina, and it was one of the first instances of religious freedom being established. The Pact of Protection also guaranteed the safety of all people of the book, meaning Jews, as the Arab governors ruled from Damascus over the province of Syria. Palestine became an important part of the Islamic world. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Until next time.